work is very much figurative. I make really big paintings and I usually capture people that I know. And my color palette is like super vibrant, so that's probably gonna be the first thing people see and notice about my art. The vibrancy is really speaking to just the lightness, because my subject matter is a little heavy. I talk a lot about self-transformation and dissecting the psyche of a person. So, you know, it can be heavy stuff because I'm pulling from real experiences. Sometimes it can be traumatic experiences that I'm pulling from. So that color palette being light and bright, and the skin of my subjects are magenta, that bright like pink color. It just like speaks to that lightness, like the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. I went to Columbus College of Art and Design, and I was kind of lost in school, and I was really attracted to figurative work. So that was always my thing, but my iPad is really what helped me understand the levels I could go with my art, the layering, the coloring, and everything. We were walking around, I was with David and Gavin, and we were just kind of doing our adventure, just exploring the city. And I saw this guy with big muscles, and he had a straw hat and a cigar. And, you know, I was drawn to him because he looked like something that I already visualized. I kind of had this idea coming to Cuba of what I wanted to capture, so he was like the perfect picture moment. I was shy to ask him for a picture. It's an awkward exchange, right? Like, you're an American, they obviously know you're American, and you have this, you know, camera, and they're like, you know, you don't want to feel like you're exploiting them in a way. So, you know, he was just kind, like he was kind about it. So I took 2 shots of him. He took the cigar out of his mouth at one point, and I directed him to put it back in his mouth. And so it was kind of like me still doing what I do, staging and directing people, because that's what I do in my work. There was a blue building behind him, so there's just so much color to work with, which also captures the essence of Cuba. And I usually, when I do this, I'm literally doing it as if I was going to do it on canvas. So this is like the overall sketch, and then so I kind of started filling in his skin. And so this is kind of close to what I'm going to be using. There's some purples in here, there's some lavender in there, working with the shadows that were falling on his face, magentas, and then there's like some light pinks. And so this is like usually the color palette I do work with when I'm making my figures. And then in the background here, there's this like texture of like oil pastel. So like I'm going to be using oil pastel for that. And I am going to be using some oil pastel in his skin as well, as kind of displayed on the Procreate. It's really cool because you can, like, you know, pick different brushes and pencils and pastels. They can kind of like, you know, imitate that, what that texture would look like. When I think about how I grew up, when I think about the things that I went through, I always look at it as like a means of like kind of shaping my purpose in life. And I want to help other people get to that same feeling. We all have like trauma experiences that, you know, big or small, that shapes who we are. And I think it's very important for us to find that core self, even like outside of what we've been through. You know, I'm motivated to let people know not to attach themselves to those experiences and become your own self. I would say the biggest theme is the spirituality aspect. And when I say spirituality, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about literally we all have a spirit, like we all do. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is capturing the spirit of that person. You're gonna see that in every piece. So I love that part of my work. It's true to who I am too. I've always been like a spiritual person. It's possible to be from any background, any race, or whatever religion, whatever beliefs you have. We all are connected in some way by our stories. And you know, I think that it's important that people just take that
they're being seen through the art at the same time, like regardless of who they are. I want people to feel seen.